My own eyes, many centuries after that period when they existed there, and I became very well acquainted with its construction. As the cause of my personal acquaintance with all the details of the construction and action of this remarkable experimental apparatus, Law of Heptaparaparshinokh, was due to accidental circumstances connected with my essence friend Gurdjieff. And as it will surely interest you very much, and at the same time will be exceedingly instructive for you, I shall describe it to you in somewhat greater detail. My personal exhaustive study of this astonishing apparatus, Law of Heptaparaparshinokh, which became, thanks to Gurdjieff, famous among the genuine scientists of almost the whole of our megalocosmos, proceeded according to the following chance circumstances. Just at the time of one of my sojourns on the planet Saturn with my essence friend Gurdjieff, he, having already previously in some way heard about this apparatus, requested me during conversation to bring him one of these experimental apparatuses from the planet Earth if I again happened to be there. And when afterwards I again visited the surface of this planet of yours, I procured there one of these apparatuses and took it with me to the planet Mars in order to send it on a convenient occasion to the planet Saturn to Gurdjieff. And so, in consequence of the fact that for a long time our ship occasion did not happen to go to the planet Saturn, this apparatus, Law of Heptaparaparshinokh, remained at my home on the planet Mars, and it often came within the sphere of the automatic perception of the organs of my sight. And during a period of rest from active mentation, I attentively examined it and ultimately became familiar with all the details of its construction and action. This famous experimental apparatus, Law of Heptaparaparshinokh, consisted of 3 independent parts. The forepart was called Lusochepana, the middle part, Zenvoch, and the last, the hind part, was called Riank Pokotarts. Each of these 3 parts, in their turn, consisted of several special and separate adaptations. The first part, which was named Lusochepana, had a special cone-shaped pipe, the wide end of which was hermetically fitted into a frame of the sole window of that room where the experiments were made. And the other end was like a small chink-like aperture with what is called a collecting disc, passing through which what are called the rays of daylight, coming from the window, were transformed into, as your favorites would say, a concentrated white ray. This concentrated white ray, thereupon passing through a crystal of a special form, was broken up into several different colored rays, which, as is said, fell upon a small slab made of ivory and called Pyrangiel. This slab, Pyrangiel, was so constructed and regulated that the colored rays falling on it were again concentrated, but this time otherwise, and proceeding through the second crystal, also of a special form, fell on another but larger slab, also made of ivory, and called Polorish Burda. Opposite this Polorish Burda was a small apparatus of a special construction, through which, on its being shifted in a certain way, any chosen colored ray there could be directed further from this Polorish Burda onto the third part of the Law of Heptaparaparshinokh, called Riank Pokortarts. Here, by the way, you might as well also be told that the knowledge relating to the construction of the first crystal of this part of the apparatus, Law of Heptaparaparshinokh, also reached down to your contemporary favorites, and they now call this crystal a prism. Through this prism, contemporary terrestrial learned beings also obtain 7 colored rays from the white ray, And they also fancy that through this they can learn about certain other cosmic phenomena. But of course, from these fancies of theirs, and from all kinds of other forms of their scientific titillation, nothing is obtained. Only because through this prism of theirs, they obtain from the white ray only what are called negative colored rays. And in order to understand any other cosmic phenomena connected with the transitory changes of this white ray, they must obligatorily have what are called positive colored rays. Your contemporary favorites, however, imagine that the colored rays which they obtain by means of this child's toy of theirs, called by them prism, are just those same positive rays which the great scientists obtained. And according to their naivety, they think that the, as they call it, spectrum, which they obtain from the white rays, gives just that order of the arising of the rays in which they issue from their sources. And meanwhile, in the given case, concerning these terrestrial sorry scientists of new formation among your favorites, one can only utter the expression often used by them themselves, "To hell with them." It is not for nothing that several of our sacred individuals in general do not call your contemporary favorites otherwise than freaks. And so, thanks to these two crystals, these great learned beings obtained from the white ray its positive colored rays, and afterwards, with the help of the slab Polorish Burda, which was the part of the Lusochepana, any one of these colored rays was directed to the third and principal demonstrating part of this astonishing apparatus, namely to the Riank Pokortars. This principal part, however, consisted of an ordinary three-legged stand, on top of which two balls, also of ivory, were fitted one upon the other in a certain way, the upper ball being much larger than the lower one. On the lower, smaller ball, just opposite that part of the Lusochepana, through which the positive colored rays had already passed, a cavity of a special form was made, into which either the whole of the said polormadectian product named opium or single active elements required for the experiments were placed during the experiments. Now the upper ball was bored right through, diametrically horizontal to the Lusochepana, and on this large ball there was also radially perpendicular to this large bore drilled right through, yet another smaller bore, reaching only to the center, of which was just opposite the Lusochepana. This second bore, drilled halfway through, was made in such a way that the colored rays could be directed as desired, either directly from the Lusochepana or reflected from the said cavity of the lower smaller ball. Through the open bore of the large ball, what is called bamboo, previously prepared in a special manner, could be freely moved. A long time before the experiments, many of these bamboos were soaked together in absolute darkness, or in, as is said there on the earth, orange light, obtained from the burning of simkalash, which was obtained from a certain kind of what is called clay, deposited in the soil of your planet, and the deposits of which are usually found near accumulations of salunilovian acids, which in their turn are formed from mamzolin, or as your favorites call it, naphtha. These bamboos were soaked in a liquid consisting of 1. The white of the eggs of the bird then called Amersamarskanaapa. 2. The juice of the plant called Chiltunach.